Okay.
Sarah Elizabeth Brian Rasco. More?
Go ahead.
Born in 1909. Her mother died when she was 12 years old. She had 6 brothers and 1 sister. So at the age of 12, she became a mother of her 6 brothers and sister.
Because?
Because her mother died when she was 12. Her mother's name was Willie Mae Wilson Bryan. And I didn't know till I was 40 years old that Willie Mae Wilson Bryan was handicapped. She walked on a crutch because one leg was crooked. And see, I think I don't think she got married till she was 27. And she had 3 sets of twins and 2 single births.
Unusual that she got married so late.
Because she had had a child out of wedlock and she was handicapped. So she didn't get married until she was older to a man who was at least 20 years older than her. James Lawson Buford. Buford. Lawson Buford Bryan. You stay down, Charlie. So she died when my mom was 12, and my mother became the surrogate mother and head of the household when she was 12. My mother was a twin. Then there was a single birth. Then there were twins. And then there were twins. And then there was a single birth. That was my mother's family. And they camped out on a stream on the Rasco's property. And that's how she met my dad, David Vestal Rasco. They called him Skildy because his legs were so skinny, he looked like one of those little birds that run along the beach. And he ran away from home all the time, so I'm sure his mother arranged a marriage between the 2 of them to keep him home and her from what was going on with her family. And I've heard that my mom and dad had a child the year after they got married, but we don't know anything about her except her name was Laura. Laura Rasco. We don't know if she lived or died. I assume she died. And then in 29, she had Donna Ray Rasco. In 31, she had Lois May. In 33, she had Arlie Wayne. In 36, she had James Lawson. In 38, she had Leroy. In 40, she had Robert David. In 41, she had Carol June. That's me. And then in 43, she had Jerry Delbert. And after that, she didn't have any more. She didn't need any more. She was still raising her brothers and sisters.
Really?
Yep. They still followed her everywhere she went.
How old was Grandma when they got married? And how
When
old was
my mom
Grandpa?
got married,
Both of them.
my mom was 16 and my dad was 17.
Wow.
Yeah. My dad's family, I think, had 13 children. But he knew nothing about his family, and I know very little about his family.
You don't even know his siblings? Like how
I know
many?
some of his siblings, but, well, the youngest daughter, Rosalie, I knew her, but the rest of the family, I didn't know. I don't think we lived near them. Well, when I was born, we were in California, and they all stayed in Texas. How we ever got to California, I don't know. During the Depression, they came here for work. And we lived in Otay, which is south of San Diego, where I was born. and it was Christmas night, and they drove to National City, which is probably 20 miles in the dark, because we were San Diego County, the West Coast was in a blackout because Japan had just bombed Pearl Harbor.
Mm.
And because San Diego is a military town, we were in a blackout. You couldn't even light a cigarette outside.
Mm.
So they drove from Otay to Paradise Valley Hospital in National City, probably 10 o'clock at night. And when they got to the hospital, the nurse told them to go back home because I wasn't going to be born. And my mom said there was no way she was going to drive back to Otay in the dark. So the nurse turned and got to the door, and my mom said, "The baby's here." And there I was.
Wow.
I mean, she should have known. I was her 7th kid.
Yeah.
First 4 kids in the family were born in Texas, and the last 4 in California. We're not sure where Leroy was born.
Mm.
If it was in El Centro. There's another little town out there. I can't remember the name of it. But he was born somewhere out there in El Centro County, anyway. And then they came on. I think it took them 2 or 3 months to get from Texas to California.
Mm. But that grandma and grandpa were both born in Texas?
Mom and Dad were both born in Texas. And the first 4 kids were born in Texas. The last 4 in California. RD was the first one born in the hospital.
Wow.
So she had RD, me, and Jerry in the hospital.
Wow.
Leroy was born at home. And then my dad worked in the dairy field most of the time in California. He worked in dairies. My sister was 11 years older than me, and I slept with her. And I would rub my feet on the back of her legs at night and suck my thumb. And she hated me. The back of her legs was so scratched up, and I would slurp sucking my thumb. I remember they put hot pepper on my thumb, so I wouldn't suck it.
Mm.
So I sucked the other one. And then they put matchbook covers. In those days, they had the big packages of matchsticks. Well, she took the top off and put it around my arms so that I couldn't bend my elbows. But I think I sucked my thumb till I was 6 years old, maybe four or 5. I know I started kindergarten, I think, when I was 4 years old. Maybe 5, going on 5. Yeah. And then when I was 7, we left San Diego and went to Bakersfield, lived in Lamont labor camp. And that was the Japanese internment center when the Japanese were interned.
Mm.
Well, after the war, they let poor people live there, sharecroppers or field hands to live in the camp. I think we had a living room, a kitchen, and 2 bedrooms, and there were 8 or 10 of us. There were 10 of us, I think. Yeah, 10 of us. So where we all slept, I have no idea.
Mm.
And then my mother's sister and her family came to live there. They were crazier than bed bugs. They had a girl named Emma Louise, just a little bit older than me, and we ran around together. That woman giggled constantly. I think when she died, she was still giggling.
Mm-hmm.
When we left Bakersfield, we went to Texas. On the way, we slept in blankets alongside the railroad tracks.
How were you getting there?
Hmm?
How were you going to Texas?
We had a car.
Oh.
We went to Texas in 1949, and we had a car. My dad did not have driver's license because he had tried to go in the military, And because he had migraine headaches, they said he had epilepsy.
Mm.
If you have epilepsy, you couldn't get a driver's license.
Mm.
So he's driving, and we come over a hill, and there's a police blockade up in front of us. So they stopped, and Mom drove. I think she had a driver's license. And so when we got to the blockade, the police said, "Oh, we know what you guys did. You switched drivers." They saw him do it. They didn't care. I don't know what they were looking for. So, but I know it probably took us a week at least to get to Texas, to Lubbock. And we got there. My dad became a sharecropper. We didn't get paid. I don't know how we got groceries during the time. Maybe we just ate from the garden. We had corn and watermelon and beans and potatoes. And basically, that was our meal. Mom made flour and water biscuits. We had a lot of corn. And then at the end of the season, the guy would give us a hog. And they'd slaughter them. And we had chicken too, because we raised chickens. And I went to school there. And everybody liked for me to get up in front and talk because I had an accent, a California accent, which is real soft and tender. And then when we came back from Texas and I talked, they liked me to talk because I had a real rough, gruff Texas accent. But anyway, when we were in Texas, I think we moved 3 or 4 times. One time we lived in a duplex. I think there were 8 of us then. Lois and Don was in the Navy, and Lois was married and had 2 kids, but they had gone to Rhode Island. But when Lois came back, she stayed with us and the kids there in Lubbock. And we lived behind a drive-in theater. And they had there was a window in the whole of the house that you could watch the movie from home. But we'd walk down to the drive-in, and they'd let us in for free if we were walking. And I know that Ski and Wayne and Jay and them got in a couple of fights down there. Lois and I walked down there one night and watched Cabbage Heads from Outer Space. So when we came home, we kept watching the sky to be sure no cabbage heads fell on us.
So Aunt Lois was married.
Lois was married at that time.
They were following along wherever you were?
No, I think they had gone to Rhode Island and then came back and lived there in Lubbock near us. And then they came on to California, I think. Wayne had some friends that were coming to California on a vacation or something. They stopped and picked him up, and he got in the car and came back. Never said bye to my mom or nothing. She didn't even know they was leaving. And he lived with Lois and Ski here for a while. That's when he threatened Ski with a knife because he was abusing Lois.